Hosted by Thomas McQuillan and George Gibson. So, we're back.
Welcome to
episode
podcast.
Episode 2 of the podcast. Episode 2. So, with big demand from the last podcast, people have been wondering, George, when are we going to do the next podcast? So, we're here.
Here we are.
Welcome to the Furniture Party.
Thomas is sweating.
Yeah, it's been
it's
been very stressful. So yeah, we're recording cameras as well as doing obviously audio.
Yeah.
So it's just been technical difficulties left, right, and centre today.
Always.
But we're back. We're here. We're ready. So let's get straight into our first conversation of the day. Coffee.
This is a nice latte, by the way.
Yeah, so we're talking about coffees, and if you don't know, me and George has done this coffee series around Belfast and Bangor.
Coffee map of Belfast.
And the coffee map
20 episodes or something. It's crazy.
20 episodes, yeah, about 20 episodes. So we've done 2 maps, one of Belfast, one of Bangor. And today we're just going to run you through kind of like our top places to go, probably in Belfast. Should we start with Belfast or just in general that what we've done?
I'd say in general. I mean, the one that comes to mind for me is Cargo Coffee in Bangor.
Right, okay.
There's that roast, that special roast thing.
Yes, that's right.
That's
They did
really
that
nice.
That was nice. You give that you give it a 10 out of 10.
I think I did.
From what I remember, you gave it a 10 out of 10. That's right, yeah.
General Merchants in Belfast, that was quite a low score. We had a special guest flew all the way from England for that.
Martin, that's right, yeah. General Merchants, that's right. So yeah,
it was his first coffee ever, and as soon as he took a sip, he was like, he gave it a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, it was a very low score.
We gave it a 4 or something.
Yeah, it was a very low score for Martin.
But
he didn't drink coffees, and he hardly drank tea.
Yeah.
He said he was more like a Monster, sort of like energy drink sort of guy. So yeah, he gave it like flipping 2 out of 10. That was.
But the last place we went to, Stormont Mugs, was it?
Stormont Mugs.
Stormont Mugs. I gave it 10 out of 10 because it's unbelievable.
No,
ice latte was.
No, I didn't go for my usual. What I usually get from a coffee shop is
the ice drinks.
I know, but I usually get myself a mocha. But I was like, screw this, let's just get something different. So I got myself an Americano. It was all right. It wasn't the best. I had Americanos from other coffee shops, and they were actually a lot better than that one.
Right. So, what other places would you say was good in Belfast for coffee?
In Belfast,
I can't even think of anything. See, we did the coffee map like years ago, so it's hard to remember like the best places. But
the things that come to mind for me.
Oh
Donut was very good coffee. Guilt Trip was a good one.
Bullet, fancy.
Bullet was good.
Coffee.
And so is Jack's, obviously, because we always go to Jack's. Jack's is a good one.
National.
National's good as well. Yeah. And now, actually, what would be your worst coffee place? Try and think back to the ones that you really didn't like.
Right, it's changed now, but the worst one for me was what's it called? The one next to Limelight.
The one where it's like opens.
Did you not like that?
Right.
No,
I like that. It was called Napoleon. That's what it's called, the Napoleon.
No, but this was years ago. Like, I've had coffee there since. And I thought it was great, but it had some kind of fruit taste. Do you not remember? Like years ago when we did the coffee map, and I hated that fruit.
That wasn't Napoleon. What was it? It wasn't Napoleon.
No, yeah, next to Limelight, opposite Limelight. It's like the open seating.
Oh right, but it wasn't Napoleon. It was called something else. Root and Branch.
Yeah, Root and Branch, but now it's changed to Napoleon.
So you don't like Root and Branch?
I didn't like it. No, I thought there was a fruity taste.
But I like that. I like that about it.
Well,
yeah, but okay. My worst one. That's difficult. See, I can't really remember the last time I had really bad coffee. That's the thing. If I'm being completely honest,
George Best Airport, when we left Martin off,
there was some bad coffee there.
Do you know why? Because they're all chain coffees. I hate chain coffee. Right,
that's local business.
That's it.
Go to
the chain coffees.
So
yeah,
don't go to Starbucks.
Don't literally,
go to your local business.
Literally, I don't mind any single independent coffee shops in Belfast, Northern Ireland, whatever, because they're so specially roasted.
And they all take care. They take into consideration. The staff are always usually very nice.
Not even that. This is the way that they roast their coffee beans. It's done differently. Costa, Starbucks, Cafe Nero, all these chain coffees, they're horrible.
Yeah.
They just taste like absolutely shite, and it's just
generic,
do you know what it
generic.
is? Everybody
It's all
just
the
go there for the coffee rush, but if you want
Yeah.
a nice taste of nice warm coffee, independent coffee
Oh,
shops.
I remember this place, Ballyhome, next to Ballyhome Beach.
Suburban. Was it Suburban?
No, Suburban.
Oh,
It was further in, and I remember I bought two. I had
with
two
Kevin.
mochas.
With Kevin.
Yeah, two mochas. Unbelievable. I can't remember what it's called, but
A Stricklands?
I don't know, but
Baylands coffee. Baylands coffee.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, did you like that?
Yeah, it was so good.
It was alright. I love Suburban's coffee. Remember we went to Suburban?
Yeah,
We always go to
Suburban's
Suburban.
good. It's a nice spot. Nice
That
spot.
should be one that you should all go to. Suburban down in
Support
Ballyhome.
Banger.
Support Banger.
Because Banger's dying
Yeah.
now. There's no shops or anything.
So
Anyway,
let's
time to
try and finish off this conversation, right?
Yeah.
So where would you recommend people who live in Belfast, Bangor? Where would you recommend them to go? Pick one out of Belfast and Bangor. Only one coffee shop.
Belfast.
No, out of the two.
Oh, out of the two.
Like which coffee shop out of the two cities? Since Bangor's a city now.
Give
Which-
Suburban a go. Give
Suburban?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I thought you would have went with Cargo.
Well, Cargo's good, but give Suburban a go. It's lovely
Yeah.
next to the
Sea
beach,
and all.
the sea view and all that. I think give Suburban a go.
If I was to recommend a place for anyone to go to try coffee, I would have to say, do you know what? Yogurt Tree. Yogurt Tree. Do you know why?
She's very good.
Lovely coffees, right? Tray bakes, but also ice cream.
Yeah, the ice cream.
Is it ice cream or is it
Yogurt ice cream.
Yogurt ice cream.
Mixture. They
Yeah.
put like little toppings on it. No, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So there are two recommendations. So you say Suburban,
Suburban.
and I say Yogurt Tree and Bangor. So moving on to our next conversation
Which
of
is
the
very
day.
different.
Which is very
This
different.
was a
We're
bit
going
of a
right.
light-
No, do you know what?
light
We're
topic.
going from coffees and ice cream to
To,
war in China and
well-
lockdown.
So I got up here. Chinese authorities have extended COVID-19 lockdowns of Chengdu and Shenzhen.
Okay.
So they promised freedom, right?
Yeah.
And now they're backtracking on it, and millions of people are being tested daily in these mega cities, and 68 cities are in partial or full lockdown according from data.
Oh wow.
And they said the restrictions would continue for 3 days in parts of the city where cases are being reported after a weekend lockdown of some of its 17.5 million residents.
Oh shit.
So basically, what do you think of this, Tom?
Do you know what?
This is 2 years after the lockdown.
After
started.
lockdown. Do you know what it is? It's the Chinese. I'm not trying to be racist. But they're always soft.
China are controlling.
Yeah,
They're
it's
controlling.
the what do you call them?
Dictatorship.
No, not even that. It's like the Russians.
Communism.
Yeah, communism.
Oh.
That's the word I was trying to look for. Communism. It's communism. That's what it is.
I mean,
What?
yeah.
I mean, you don't see America flying their drones around people's houses.
Well,
Well,
really lockdowns for all of us. But
Yeah.
look, the thing for me is they're being vaccinated, and that's another thing in itself. Like whether that works or makes things worse. But right, the Chinese, they've had all their jabs. They've done all this. So it's like we're heading into 3 years later, and they're still in lockdown. I think it's
Absolutely insane.
it is insane. That is a bit insane. I would have thought that it all would have been ended, but I feel it because China's such a big population that's why.
No, Thomas,
Maybe,
come
do you
on.
think so?
No,
No?
no, it's just control. It's control.
Do you think it's just
It's
control?
just control, yeah.
But how come America's not doing that?
How come
we're not doing it?
I suppose the answer is China.
It's just China. We're not being racist.
One thing I worry about China is the things they're pushing onto their citizens recently, and it's the social credit system. It's the facial recognition scanning, and it just seems very dystopian. And
Yeah.
I'm very worried that's going to transfer over to
Over
us.
to us. Now, thankfully, it hasn't happened to us yet.
Not
But
yet, but
there is a movie.
yeah.
Now, if you haven't seen it, it's on Amazon. It's on Amazon. And I showed it to you, and you've watched it, and you loved it just because your favorite actor's in it.
Peter Stormare, yeah, there's
Goodness
something about
sake.
him.
But anyway, in this movie called Songbird, it kind of predicts,
Mass lockdown, and
It's all-
you're wearing a wristband, and basically you can only go outside if you're immune or
Yeah, if you're immune, you wear this wristband, you can go anywhere. But if you are not vaccinated and have symptoms of this virus, then you're in lockdown. You're in these concentration camps, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's worrying that might come true one day.
Well,
I mean, in some places it is happening. Like, did you not say it was Poland or something like that? What was it? There was a country you said where they're actually doing that right now.
well, with camps.
Yeah.
Well,
What was it?
I think Germany. There was something.
It wasn't Germany. It was like either Switzerland or Poland. You told me it was one of the two.
There's something about Germany that they were preparing to put people in special COVID camps. I don't know if it actually happened. I know that they were preparing for that, but that is a worry. You know, thankfully everything seems to be. All restrictions are lifted here for now, but time will tell.
But because we're talking about this, right?
Movies.
It is a movie.
Yep.
Right? So
we have a very special guest who.
No, but not even that. I'm just before we bring on our special guest, because it's a movie, right? That's just a prediction from a filmmaker's point of view. So it may not come true, but because we're talking about movies, let's bring on an actor who may have some more judgment onto this. Andrew McNeill, everybody. Go on board. Come on, sit down in between me.
All right.
How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me.
No worries. So, Andrew, if you overheard me and George talking about this movie called Songbird and about this filmmaker's kind of like perception about what if this will come true in the future, what do you believe? Do you believe that?
I haven't seen the film for a start, so I can't really speak about that there. I mean, I don't know about this whole thing about Germany having camps. I don't think having camps in Germany would go down too well.
That's what people were.
Be honest. I mean,
whenever they were planning that, like, you should have seen the comments. They were like, no.
Look, there's been a lot. The news media these days is very. What's the word for it? It's all
fake.
About well, not fake. I don't want to get into that, but like it's about It's about speculation. It's about big headlines and generating outrage and clickbait headlines and stuff like that. There, so I don't know about that, but certainly in this country we're in right now, let's talk about that. That's what we know. I mean, China. It's nothing. China's repressive. I don't really see how this is news, to be honest with you. Like it's been like that since the bloody 50s. Like so. But here, I don't, as I was saying to you earlier on, I don't think we could enforce another lockdown here in this country after what Boris and his mates did, because I know.
It could.
Well,
depending on, because we haven't even elected a new prime minister yet, but at the moment it seems to be going to your guy.
It's going towards.
It'll be Truss.
You're not your girl, it's your guy.
No,
it'll be Truss.
I heard
Sunak's more or less conceded already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be. Look. I can't see it happening.
No.
I can't see it. Because half of the Tories didn't even want the lockdown to begin with because they're all about business and making money and all the rest of it. Like they were wanting to bring in that herd immunity where they were just going to send us all off to die.
Right. Oh, really?
Yeah, well, it was. It was kind of at the 11th hour. That's why we were quite late to lockdown compared to a lot of countries in Europe, as far as I can remember. But even if they were to bring it in and say, right, this is the new law, I don't think people would abide by it. I certainly don't think it would, to be honest, unless there was overwhelming evidence that, okay, this is like a new strain and it's like flipping the Spanish flu level of death, But like
you said, it's mainly because of what the government was doing for it.
It is,
parties and all that.
It is,
and people were in the hospital and you couldn't go and visit them.
That's right. Yeah.
It's terrible.
And he's still trying to get this overturned and all the rest of it. And it's just disgraceful. I think it's a real shame on the country itself. A real shame on the people already have so little trust in the political system, especially here in Northern Ireland. We don't have a sit-in government still, but they're still yet again for the first they're still getting their pay packets and stuff because the DUP don't want to get into it. It's just not a good situation, and I think people's trust in politics is just at an all-time low. Yeah, to be honest,
especially here in Northern Ireland.
Especially here.
Sleepy Joe Biden.
Sleepy Joe. Well,
he doesn't know where he is half.
No, to be honest, if you were to choose between the two presidents, Trump and Biden, who would you pick more?
Biden.
Yeah.
Well, so fair enough. If he's flipping senile at this point, and he's seems like he's falling over.
I would go for Trump.
I'd pick Biden any day over Trump. Trump is a race. He's Andrew Tate, but older and ginger.
Trump tried to like overthrow the result of a democratic election.
Yeah, exactly. He
basically tried to launch a
Yeah.
coup. He's being investigated for that.
I know, yeah.
Do you hear about these documents he's had as well?
No.
Did you not hear about this?
No.
His house got raided. His big Florida mansion, Mar-a-Lago, got raided by the FBI because after he was president. See, after you're president, you're meant to basically turn over all your documents and stuff, and that goes into like the archives and into classified and all the rest of it. He brought like boxes of classified documents and stuff home with him, and just kept it there. And apparently, whenever the feds were coming in, he was like, him or his staff were trying to flush some of it down the toilet or something like that. There's like something out of bloody Goodfellas or something, you know. So he's getting done for that now. His supporters, like all of his supporters, are up and against the flipping FBI now as well, like which. It's America's scary at the minute. Like
So
I feel for the Americans. I have to say, it's
What
not.
about in schools, American schools? You know, there's people, there's the teachers and there's staff and there's security with guns. Like my nephews, my little nephew's only like 11 or 10.
Yeah.
And you know, he has to go for a scanner every day. You know,
That's scary.
imagine having gun. Like we never
went through that. That's scary though.
It's-
But that's like a normal everyday thing for American kids.
Oh, I
now.
know, but that's not normal to me.
I know it's not normal, but for them it's normal. But like if I was to go in that environment, if I was that age, like your nephew, and I was walking there, coming from this country over to there and starting a new school there, I'd be petrified. Yeah. I'd be like, what's going on? It feels like you're walking it's like you're walking into a prison.
Well, they do not even that. Like they do shooter drills, active.
Yeah.
Same way we would do fire drills. Like obviously they would do fire drills as well, but they do active shooter drills where it's like prop all of the. No, it's kind of like that actually, like the duck and cover from the atomic bomb. Both arguably don't do anything and just traumatize children. Because like, let's be honest, if someone's coming around wanting to shoot you, like I think if you putting cables up against the door is not going to stop them. No, it's a bad situation because America's just so. They're just so wedded to their gun rights.
Yeah.
Just and that's like I could sit here all day and talk about that there, like, but it's.
It won't change.
It won't change anytime soon. Certainly, I don't know if it'll ever change, to be honest, because the gun lobby is just so powerful in America. Like, there's a lot of money there. Like they put a lot of money into the Republican Party. Yeah. Money talks ultimately. That's what they say. Like, if any time there's something goes on, just follow the money.
Yeah.
And you'll get to the truth of it usually.
Well, let's quickly change topic here, right? So we have you on board, right? So if you don't know who Andrew is a actor here in Northern Ireland. But not even that, he's also a director and writer, aren't you?
Mainly actor, writer,
Producer?
Producer, director. Not in a while, maybe someday again, but yeah.
But what would you...
His best work is Infected, but
Oh yeah, Vincent. All right.
the plug Infected.
But I want to talk to you about, because we're talking about... I'm going to pick on your director side of things, right? Because we're obviously in our previous talking, but we're talking about China and we're talking about this film Songbird and how this director kind of like almost like pre-predicted this coronavirus outbreak and predicted like camps and stuff like that, and now it's happening. But
was this film released before COVID and all that? Oh right, okay, that's interesting.
So coming from a director's point of view, right? How difficult would you feel, or like, would you worry about making a film like this? If you were to do it, if someone gave you money and said, right, we want you to make a film based around this virus and stuff like that, would you make it? Would you make that knowing that there might be a big controversy?
Would I be writing it, or is the script already written?
I would say no. You have to write it.
I have to write it
and direct it.
Okay.
How would you feel about that?
Depends where the money's coming from for to begin with. If it's coming from an actual studio, or if it's coming from like some flipping propaganda group or something like that, it's a bit different. Like, but if it's like an actual film studio, if it's like let's make a film here, I wouldn't be against it. Certainly, I mean,
But would you not be worried in case like there might be a backlash from you making it, because obviously it's a big like
that's everywhere these days. It doesn't matter. I mean, the film I just made is about the bloody Confederate States of America. Like, I'm in a flipping Confederate uniform in it. Like, but like, so on the surface, people could be like, "Oh my God, he's wearing a Confederate." Like, I film I did last year, I'm wearing an SS uniform, for example. Like, it's at the end of the day, like you look at the film itself, look at the content of the film. Don't be so quick to judge. People are so quick to judge. Like, I mean, with the best example I can think at the minute's the Rings of Power.
Yeah.
People were jumping on that before trailers had even come out because they heard about
reviews as well. Right?
Yeah, well, there's people were leaving the troll reviews and stuff like that. There, people were commenting about the different, like, people of different ethnicities playing certain characters, things like that there as well, and also like deviating from Tolkien's lore and things like that there. But like, I think the best thing to do is just to wait till the damn thing comes out and actually judge it for yourself. Fair enough. If you want to watch it now, I'm like, no, I disagree with this. I've read the Silmarillion, I've read the appendices, I'm big into the Tolkien stuff. I don't like this. Like, you're well within your rights to have your opinion, but just everyone's just, it's the outrage game back to the media. It's back to the outrage machine. I think if you a film like that about like a virus or about a pandemic, like people are just like, oh, immediately, and it's going to fall very squarely left, right kind of thing as usual. But
do you guys remember this movie, 2012?
Yeah.
I was just thinking that actually.
Big thing back, if you guys don't know, the big thing back in 2011, 2012.
Geez, that's 10 years ago.
Some Mayan prediction of the end of the world, and everyone was going mad. They're like aliens and all. They were at the end of the world. So they made this movie 2012, which is quite bad, by the way. But
what were you talking about? Were you gonna?
Yeah, just like obviously it was a failed prediction because we're still here. But
that was all to do with.
They always do that.
Apparently, it was because the Mayan calendar stopped at that date. But it's the same with like, there's only so many Roman numerals as well. Like, you know, they only thought so far ahead. Like, I'm sure they would have added more if they had kept going. They hadn't all been wiped out.
Sure. Do you not remember all these like online social media posts saying, "Oh, an asteroid's going to hit the Earth," and I'm just like sat there in my living room like, I'm waiting, I'm waiting.
School, we were all talking about
it.
I know,
but it's not even the fact that it's just once. It's like, I don't know how many times I've seen that post on social media, like, our asteroid's going to hit us soon. We're all going to die. I'm just waiting. Like, okay.
You still see it the odd time. You still see it. I think people are just tired of it now. It's like it's like having a fella with a placard in the middle of town, like the end of the world is now. They're just like,
I want to talk about China again.
No, we've already talked about China.
No, just quickly. Well, so there is a mass drought going on in China right now. The Yangtze River is pretty much dried out. It's like 40, 50 degrees every day in China. It's one of the biggest one of the biggest droughts in history, you know. And but the Chinese, they were fiddling around in January of this year. They're fiddling around and they were trying to make an artificial sun of some sort. Like,
you told me about
this. I've heard about this. Yeah.
And apparently, for about 10 minutes or a few minutes, whatever, they made it hotter than the actual sun. I don't know how I can believe that, but maybe that's got something to do with the drought.
Even that global warming could cause that. Could be the reason why there's been stuff happening.
Well, as likely as global warming, same as like the heat wave across Europe. The past summer, and even like if you look at Pakistan now,
floods,
massive, like 33 million people have had to leave their homes. Like that's a really bad. But no, China meddling with the not the sun, but meddling with the way of nature is nothing new. It was, I think it was in the
playing God pretty much.
They've done this before though. It was I think it was the 70s. People correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was in the 1970s whenever Mao was still a leader. There was an issue with sparrows. There was too many sparrows. Apparently, they were getting into barns and they were like eating feed reserves and stuff like that there. So he issued a decree: all sparrows need to be wiped out. So there was a massive campaign across the entire country where sparrows were nearly hunted to extinction in China. Next summer comes along, what happens? Locusts like there's never been before. Massive famine. Tens of millions of people die.
Goodness sake.
And so, you know what I mean? Like if you've lesser of two evils. That's what happened when if you want to, like, sparrows might come in and need a couple of your feed bags or something like that there, but then you get rid of them, completely disrupt the balance in nature.
Yeah.
The power of the sun.
The power of the sun in my hand.
The power of the sun in my hand.
Love that movie. Speaking of movies, right? So tell me this, right? Would you rather be full-time actor or full-time director?
A full-time actor. Yeah. Like, I have no desire to become a director at all. I don't know why you're even like, it's more like actor. It's more like actor-writer is what I mean to be honest. Definitely actor. Like I like writing the odd time. Just if it comes to like I can't get, but I kind of dabble here and there, and like if I've got nothing on, I'll be like, right, I better write something here just to keep me busy and to give me a bit of a challenge, you know. But like if it came to like, I'd be happy acting on people's stuff, because it's more like I find I kind of gravitate towards the same topics when I'm writing. It's always like historical or kind of quite dramatic, like kind of. I don't know if it's the right word, but like epic kind of shit. I'm always drawn to like quite like large, big themes and big questions about like honor and duty and like, you know, all these, the nature of these sorts of things, you know. Whereas it's nice to do something sometimes if it's like a bit of comedy or like something a bit more like, you know, like with we did in the My Hero. I was just came in playing that kind of, just some style, like doing stuff like that sometimes just to, it gives me more of a challenge, I think, if I don't write it, because then it's coming from a complete different point of view than my own.
Yeah.
And that's what I always like to do. So yeah, acting.
What would be right? right? No, George, we have to look at him now. We have to look at him. What has been your most favorite film of ours that you've worked on?
What's been your most favorite film
That you've worked on?
Hint.
Of yours?
Yes,
or
of ours.
of particular?
Of all time.
Of all time. Oh well,
But it might include a creation of art.
Can we create 2 questions for that there then? Like because I'm getting don't know if I'm gonna get out of here. I'm just turn
turn the camera off.
It's gonna turn into a hostage video in a minute.
George, where's your prop gun? It's just
Oh yeah, I got the AK over there.
That's
Yeah.
good to see. Right.
I'll split that into 2. A favourite of my own project. How's that for a start? Okay,
we'll
favourite
do
of my own.
that.
I really enjoyed this Whistling Dixie, which is the latest
Yes.
one we've worked on because it's the first film I'd written. I worked on in about 3 years.
Since Victories,
Since Victories, yeah. And it's similar. There's certainly similarities. It's a war film and it's about a soldier who's estranged from his love and he's on the kind of the losing side of a war and is kind of grappling with these themes about duty and about if he's on the right, like what it means to fight for a cause and what that cause is. And we just had a hell of a time on that there. It was meant to be like a showreel scene originally. It was meant to be the bulk of the film is like myself and another soldier, like the character's cousin, just sitting around a campfire. Then my guy's like the kind of veteran. He's been about since the start of the war and he's just started.
Yeah.
So he's got all this sort of naivety. He's like, oh yeah, we're going to go and crush the Yanks and all this here. And I'm sitting there like, oh Jesus, son, you have no idea what's coming. So it was originally just meant to be a showreel scene, 2 fellas sitting at a campfire, but then it just kind of, myself and Mark Lothar, who was the director and co-producer on it, it just kind of snowballed eventually into like this 22-minute mini epic, as I call it, which is spanning like the entire war, like from the start of the war to the fighting and then like afterwards what happens, and I'll not give it
Speaking
away.
of Civil War has got me
Oh God.
Thomas movie. Does he know about it?
Are you talking about my great grandfather?
No,
Thomas
the
Francis?
Thomas movie.
Oh,
Does he know about it?
He does know about the Thomas movie.
What are you talking about?
No, we'll leave that.
No, we got to talk about.
We'll leave
Thomas
that for
movie.
real estate. We'll leave that for real estate.
It's a very special movie.
We told you about it.
I don't think we did.
No,
tell him
we
about
did,
it.
Tom.
Did we?
Yeah, it was. Oh no, did we?
No, we didn't tell him.
No, we.
What the hell are you doing about here? Like what?
I think we did.
It's a movie about Thomas's life. It's like a biopic.
But it's like a comedy,
But-
dark comedy.
Yeah. So Thomas is a farmer during the 1800s, and
Has this been made yet?
no, it's in the works. It's in
Right,
the works.
okay.
We try to get funding, but well.
Oh, there's that NI screen call. I could probably.
So he's
And
a,
it's
I'll
great,
sum it
it's
up for you. He's a farmer. He's a bit of he's got mental problems, and he's
Because of incest.
yeah.
Is this really the biopic you want to present of yourself? Like,
No, but
His parents are Michael McGarry.
Michael McGarry.
is his mother,
And my friend Curtis.
and Curtis is his father.
okay.
And you can imagine Michael McGarry wearing
A dress and all.
a
of course,
woman's dress
yeah.
from the time. that-
As have we all.
So basically, Thomas is he's like a sex magnet. All the women love him, except he's very ugly in this movie.
No. I find all the beautiful ladies unattractive, and I find the most like disturbed, messed up woman the most attractive. So there's a scene where I'm at this ball, right, and there's this hot babe, like she's smoking hot, and she comes over, starts flirting me. I'm like, out of my way, bitch. I push her away. Yeah, out of my way.
I suppose for gender politics of the 1800s, it probably
then
wasn't
it's-
uncommon.
And his parents,
but then it
his
ends up
parents set him up
with my
with
sister.
a girl, and they know that it's his sister.
But I
they
don't
tell
know.
him.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
And they give birth to me.
Yeah, but he comes out with a gun out of the womb.
And also, and then there's the trilogy. So the second
trilogy, okay.
Okay, so the second one, I meet a Michelle Obama and Barack Obama, right? So this is like a big time jump since the Civil War. and the thing is, right? So
he
I
falls in love with Michelle Obama.
and I have sex with Michelle Obama, but then Barack Obama finds out. And he's like, "How dare you!" But then in walks in Donald Trump, who applauds me for sleeping with the enemy.
But Michelle Obama is his great grandmother.
So incest after incest, but then it gets worse, right? At the end of that movie, I get abducted by an alien, right? So it goes into space. I fall in love with the alien, have sex with that. What do I know? that alien was my great ancestor who first appeared on Earth.
Just when you think the Targaryens aren't that bad in comparison to all this here.
The Thomas movie. So let's try and go.
Yeah, no. Categorically, no.
Good. So George, you've just ruined our chances.
That's not a pitch. Yeah.
It won't go anywhere. He'll be fine. It's just for own amusement. George will watch it later on.
Yeah.
In his own free time. Save for real estate, George.
No real estate.
Right. Let's get back on track, right? So obviously you talked about your favorite film. We've just probably ruined our chances now, George. Right? So what is yeah, so what has been your favorite movie that you have worked on that's
been a part of us?
Oh yeah.
Which one I've been in? Probably not Born to Die because I'm only in it for like 2 seconds and I got abused for being a quote-unquote child with a mustache.
Really?
I was in one of the reviews or something like that there on IMDb. Did you never see that one?
No, I saw the
I was like, why?
one. I saw the fans one, but he said it was like just pure crap and sci-fi garbage, and I was like, right. Okay.
We went to a coffee shop and we saw your picture in one of the coffee books. Films.
Do you know the Belfast Film Festival?
Oh yeah, because of all this, like I'm in that for like 2 seconds. Like, why the hell am I?
I know you're
in this thing. I don't know. I've enjoyed, in fact, that I have to say. I mean, it's been up, it had its ups and downs. Like, there's obviously production because you're doing it here and there, but it's been enjoyable, you know.
But we need to finish it
We do
off.
need to finish it off. Yeah.
It just feels like we need to get the season done.
Yeah, it's just one episode, but it's finding the time to do it all. It's getting everybody together, and it's also because obviously we talked about this before. We wanted it to end with such an epic ending, but then it's like that's just going to take so much time and so much budget as well. That's going to cost a lot of budget. So we're trying to find a way to conclude it where we have our way, but also try and shorten the budget as much as possible.
Do you remember World War Z?
Yes.
You know the end and all that there? Because I remember, like, I was another film, like, I was a film that went through a bit of development hell. Like, the original end and all that film was, like, massive big battles against zombies in, like, Moscow. Then it was, like, a beach landing on the coast of, like, Miami or something like that there, Florida. But then they went and reshot it and they ended it, you know, when he's in Wales and it's that much more intimate. Spoilers for, like, a 10-year-old film here, by the way. But, like, it ends in a much more, like, kind of intimate sort of contained way where it's kind of going through the lab and there's only like a couple of zombies, and I think something like that there might be better, where you just make it the focus more on the characterization and their struggle rather. You can you could have Robbie in as the alpha and just have it nearly like a flipping slasher film and like quite quite tight corridors and stuff like that. There, you know,
instead of the army, it could just be him. And he's just trying to hunt you down.
Maybe when our characters, didn't we end it with our characters
running away?
Mm-hmm. So maybe they go into a place and
they're cornered or something.
It's supposed to be the sanctuary. It's supposed to be the sanctuary.
Yeah. He set a trap for them. It's just him, and he's running around the corridors trying to hunt them down.
Right.
Yeah, it could be like a flipping more of a slasher kind of thing, where it's like he's there and then you go, where do you go? You know, that kind of thing. Not like, you know, I don't know. I just thought that might be a better way of doing it, especially like, you know, you're obviously talking about budget and trap, but also, and you try to do these crowd scenes sometimes, and then, you know what it's like with extras and stuff like that. There's like half of them show up, and then it just looks crap on camera. You know, it's like, all right, actually, the big army is like 6 fellas. If even.
CGI them all.
CGI. About the original ending we had planned for.
No, he knows about the original ending.
I think it was season 1, wasn't it? We remember years ago. But a sword. There was a sword involved and all.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about that.
Spoilers, because it never happened.
Oh, it never happened. Oh, you talking about our original ending?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So the original ending was that obviously I was still alive. I remember George's character was turned into like an infected, or like there was that nightmare sequence where I thought he was an infected.
He becomes Bootstrap Bill.
Something like that. Yeah. So the way that it was supposed to end, it was supposed to have that epic battle, and Joe was supposed to be the alpha, right? Joe was supposed to be alpha, and he was supposed to be like Joe's right hand man. And me and him have this big fight, and it ends up where we both kill each other
with a sword.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Sparky was supposed to be the last survivor.
Yeah, Sparky. Remember Sparky?
He had the
Curtis
vaccine.
Worrell. Yeah.
He had the vaccine, and he was supposed to be the only one to get away and all that. But things changed.
Yeah. So infected, you were saying infected has been the most enjoyable.
Yeah. I've had people like stop me in the street and stuff, like, "Oh, you're a guy from flipping that," and then like
the first time Michael McGarry got talked about infected. That's all he knows now. Is like everybody keeps going up to him and saying about infected.
I once, this was a couple of years ago. I was going to the Tesco's near me. And there was a fella stopped me. I was going. I was like, "Oh, do I know you?" I was like, "I don't know, mate." And he's like, "Oh, you were in that, in fact." I was like, "Ah, yeah." It was bloody winter. I was wearing the friggin' jacket. I was like, "This is awful. This guy must think I'm like flipping obsessed with my own character or something like that." It's a bloody good coat, in fairness.
Yeah. No, but that's great that people are, we're being recognized for this show, even though like we haven't made it since like, I don't know, what was it, 2020?
Oh, God.
That was the last episode, wasn't it?
No,
No, it was before COVID.
No,
before COVID. I think it was before COVID.
Was it not like at the start of COVID, or was it just before COVID?
Just before, would have been like early 2020, late 2019. I
It's
think.
been like 2 years, nearly 2.5 years.
Yeah, and the fact that it was just an improvised thing on the spot initially.
Yeah, and that was about 4 years ago we started it.
2017 we started, yeah, with Joe.
Mad, yeah. Mad.
That's 5 years ago, like.
Mad. But right, let's try and end this podcast, right? And I know the whole reason why you wanted to come onto this podcast.
Oh, no.
Do you want to say to George how you feel about Andrew Tate?
I've already said, so you can go.
No, but he wants to go on, Andrew.
Here, no, aren't we supposed to end
What?
our podcast on a funny story?
Yeah, that's a funny
thought it would be
story.
a funny story.
Andrew Tate's a funny
okay.
story.
I've only seen I've only saw snippets of this on the Instagram
Oh,
story
you
or
need to-
something.
you need to
I
hear
just
it
heard it's like,
for
all I hear is just like it just cuts in. It's like you say Andrew Tate is a top G. And I was like, I hope you're being sarcastic here, because all it takes is like someone to see that and being like, here flipping, we're cancelled or whatever you want to call it, like, oh. That's a whole thing. Like, I don't know. I've only heard about the flipping age these past couple of weeks, and it's just the way things are these days. You get these people popping up every now and then, and it's like it's either they're just trying to generate outrage for their own fame, or he genuinely does believe these things, and we should just pay him no heed whatsoever. Personally,
Well, but like, do you believe what he says? So like, obviously,
what does he say?
Yeah,
What-
the way he stands is like he's like pretty much alpha male. Male should be done over the female, and that men have more rights than women.
No,
and
he didn't say that.
Well,
He didn't
he's
say
going along those lines.
he's a self-described misogynist, so I'd say that's probably not
But
far
that's the
from
way
his
he's going
beliefs.
along. That's the way he's going along.
know.
That should be back to the basics, like cavemen, whereas like
No.
the women stay at home and give birth while the men go out and work.
He didn't really say that.
Well, that's the way he says it.
Well, no, of course not. Like, it's just that just strips an entire like half of the population of the planet of their autonomy and freedom. Like you can talk about freedom of speech and stuff like that, but you're just stripping a lot of people of their their fundamental human rights if you go along those kind of basis. It's like, and like this is what pisses me off to no end. People like got there saying freedom of speech, and all this here. It's like because you there's a difference between freedom of speech and freedom to a platform, like something like Twitter or Facebook or something like that. There, freedom of speech is to stop you being persecuted by your government for what you're saying. That's not happening to him. He's not getting thrown in jail. He's not being like beat up by the police or something like that. Therefore, what he's saying.
He froze his bank accounts.
They froze his bank accounts.
Yeah.
Well, there's probably something a bit more dodgy going on there, to be honest with you. Like, I'd say there's probably there's probably something going on there. But like, it's just like if I came into your house and I started saying something like, I think all the Jews should be executed, they're the big problem of the world, or something like that. No, but like, if I came into your house and said that, you would ask me to leave. And I could go, freedom of speech. I'm allowed to say, no, get out of my bloody house. I'm not having a flipping Nazi in my house. And it's the same with these like platforms like Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Like if you say something like this here, which goes against their terms of service, which every single one of us, whether you read it or not, you accept and you sign that whenever you come on that.
Yep, that's right.
You have violated that, and therefore it's a private interest, it's a private business, whatever you want to say. I'm not defending these huge corporations by no means, but you have violated their terms of service, so they have every right to kick you off it. Yeah. Every right to do so.
See, George?
Andrew, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Is he the top G?
Right. We need a crazy story of your lifetime. Not the crazy. It doesn't have to be the craziest.
This is how we end this podcast. The most
we
craziest.
did this in the last episode.
Oh, do you want me to think of another crazy night? Are we doing interns again? Think of another crazy night. I picked that one time, but I have another in my head.
My stories are all classified for at least the next 20 years as far as those go.
Well, that's the whole point of the podcast.
It doesn't have to be. It could be something you're willing to share.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think because there's
something.
Something crazy. Usually it's like a drunken night out.
No, that's what I mean. Like, there's most of stuff like that there.
Well, so obviously in the previous podcast, I talked about one of my crazy nights, and it was at Filthy's, right? And what? I know, but like I'm just explaining to Andrew so he knows. So I was at Filthy's and I was with me, George, and our friend Johnny. You probably met Johnny before, haven't you? I
think so.
Or if you've heard of him anyway.
Morrison or?
Johnny, Morrison, Boyd.
Right.
I don't think he's met.
I think maybe
Johnny.
once, but that's it.
Yeah, but so it's us three. We went to Filthy's, and by this time, I think all of us were pretty plastered, pretty much. And of course, the whole agenda for every night going out is to pick up a girl, according to George. So George is like, right, Thomas, do your thing, or like, at least attempt to. So these two girls, right, and they come up to me. Now they must have been on like drugs. I don't know what it was, but they were definitely on something. It was either they were very, very drunk or they were on drugs, right? But they came up to me and they started playing with my beer. But the thing is, my beer was down to there, right? And they were playing with my beer and being all like flirty and stuff like that. And then one of them started to do, ooh, you know, that sort of stuff with their finger, just pointing at my face. So I was like, I'll do the same. No, wait. Yeah, I'd start doing the same. And she did it back to me, right? Do you know, like, you know, whenever you try to be all free, you go, arr, arr, arr. Do you see where this is going?
Right. I don't know if I want to, like, but okay.
Yeah, so whenever she was doing that to me, I was like, arr, arr, and I bit her finger.
Jesus Christ.
And she ran away.
Right. Now let's move. What's another story?
Okay, so that's just one of those stories, but another story, I would say, a crazy one.
Thompson's.
That wasn't crazy.
Well, I got him kicked out by the bouncers.
But it wasn't crazy.
Well,
It wasn't crazy.
but what it was whenever the girl asked you for drugs.
Yeah, but that's just
Thompson's,
yeah,
like, it's,
and that's just
I'd never even been to Thompson's, I just know that.
It wasn't even the crazy thing. I think it was just the most awkward bit. It was Thompson's, right? So again, in Thompson's, have you ever been to Thompson's? Or
I have not. No.
Well, okay, so they have like a balcony overlooking the dance floor. So
This is a weird one.
This is a very weird one, by the way. But I was on one side of the balcony, right, just looking over, and there's this hot girl, right? She was hot. She was hot, and she was on the other side, directly opposite me. And we were we were locked eyes, and we were doing these flirty looks and all that sort of stuff. And I was trying to like indicate to come over, right? Someone does come over, right? She's like, "Are you trying to flirt with my daughter?" I was like, what? I was actually like flabbergasted. I was like, wait, what? I didn't say anything, and my friend Johnny was there, and he was like, oh, I'm sorry, we'll leave you alone. So we walked away.
That's what you're there for.
But it's the fact that a grown woman was at Thompson's with her daughter. Usually Thompson's is like, well, under 20 years old.
Yeah.
Usually under 20. This is a woman in her like probably 50s at Thompson's with her daughter. And it's the fact that I was locking eyes with her daughter while she was right beside her.
I'll just take chaperoning to a new level, like.
It's a major cock block. But Andrew,
I'm honestly I'm trying to think here. I'm just trying to think of something off the top of my head. Even recently, nothing too crazy. Like,
Well, I remember there was a story you told us in was it Bootleggers? I think this was for your birthday. I think you said about
it wasn't Bootleggers. It was beside Bootleggers, wasn't
was
it?
it? Yeah, I don't know.
It's that
You were
one,
saying about you
Victoria Square.
going into the wrong room or something in a hotel. You were drunk or something. And you went into the wrong room.
oh, I forgot. No, this is right. I may as well just tell the Edinburgh story here. To be honest, right?
Okay.
This was about how many years ago? It's 2018. I just graduated university finally. And we decided to go over to Edinburgh for a few days, like, and we just couldn't. It was during the first couple of days of the World Cup. Everyone was having a great time. Drinks flowing. The drink over there was dirt cheap at that point, like stupidly cheap. Like you were talking like £3.50 for like a double Jack Daniels in some places and stuff like that. There, right? So
Your cup of tea, George.
first night's all great. Have a good wee night and all that. There, head back to the hostel. And this hostel was unbelievable. Like, it's nicer than some hotel rooms I've stayed in. Everyone had of the four of us, everyone had their own room.
Nice.
Yeah, like, and even within that, there was a couple of beds, and each one had like a key on the lock and all that there. So that was great. Everyone had their keys, and we all went back to bed. I was grand. Got up the next day, had a wee walk around Edinburgh. Went and did the same thing that night. I went and met a friend of mine from school who I hadn't seen in years. He lived in Edinburgh now, so we were sitting drinking rightly before that there. I just remember him coming in the door, going across the street to a bar, sat down with him. That's the last thing I remember. I wake up, it's like the slowest, I'm lying back, I wake up and I'm just like, I can just see the ceiling. I'm like, where the fuck am I? Look up. And I was like, right, I'm in the hostel. Fair enough, I got back home, that's amazing. That's great. And I'm absolutely down, like, I need to go to bed here. So I managed to eventually get myself up, crawl and across the kitchen, get up onto my feet, get staggered to the door, trying to get my key into my room. It's like, right, come on, I'm not that drunk now. Why the hell can I not get in? It's like, right, this isn't my hostel room. I was 2 floors below in somebody else's room.
How did you even get in that room?
No, the door must have been open or something like that. So this is the thing with me, like I pride myself on, fair enough, like I can sometimes get quite drunk and I'm just like away with it, but I always am able to carry myself on my own 2 feet. I'm very proud of that there. Because, you know, some people just, their legs go and they can't go anywhere and then they're just a liability to everyone. I'm like, no, I will get there. It may take a while, but I'll get there. So I went back up the stairs 2 floors, got in there, and then I was like, oh my God, what have I done? There's people not there and all. Then my mates came in at that point, and then one of them just had no shirt on. Oh.
We have another
doorbell. That's the special guest.
I don't know what's going on.
I will. You go ahead.
Is this your papa?
No, it can't be my parents. It can't be.
Like that, yeah. I'm sure they'd love to be a part of this very civilized discussion.
Right, continue.
Anyway, that was a ghost of Edinburgh there. So next day we all wake up the next day, and we're absolutely damn. We had to get a plane back the next. I think it was like afternoon or something like that, 12 or 1 or something like that there. So we get to the airport, we're well ahead of time, in fairness, like we're all done. We're all in the way, like just outside the gate, and I see a massage chair across the room, and I'm like, oh my God, that would just save my life right now. So I went and put a quid in the massage chair. I'm just sitting there. I think this is fucking heaven. This is amazing. So and then as I get drawn out, I put another quid in, sat there for another 5 minutes. I didn't see during this time, one of our mates, the one who was a bit more sober than the rest of us, he decided to go on round to the gate himself, because he'd been telling the other 2 who were even worse than me. He said, look, I'm way around the gate here, lads, we're going to come. And they weren't listening to him, so he went on round to the gate himself to wait for to get on the plane. I'm just sitting there, obviously, in nirvana at this point. I look across, I was like, all right, he's not there. Oh, he must be away to the toilet or something like that there. So I go unbeknownst, go and sit beside the 2 of them. I'm thinking, right, that plane's going to come soon. He may hurry up here. And I'm like, right. And then he phones us and he's like, right, I'm on the plane. Where are you? So I'm like, right, lads, get up. Flipping dragged them on round to the gate. The thing is, we actually came on it. We came on one airline and we came back on a different airline. On the airline over, you were allowed 2 bits of hand luggage. On the airline back, you only allowed 1.
Oh shit.
So like my second bag, I just had like dirty clothes in it. So they were like, right, we only bring 1. I could just went, right, let me on. But our other mate, like from America, he had his flipping DSLR on all the bags, so it wasn't. So we were like, right, how are we going to do this? And somebody's like, the gate's closed anyway now. So he basically got on the bloody plane and left us. So I had a show the next day. Oh. So we had to get from Edinburgh on the east coast of Scotland.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, let me backtrack a bit. We tried to get another, adrenaline kicks in at this point, because one of us had somewhere else to be the next day as well, I think something work related. We were just like, adrenaline kicks in, right, sober up immediately. So we were looking at all our flights. It was like 300 quid. Oh. And that was to Dublin. It wasn't even to Belfast. We're like, right, that's not happening. So I went and looked at the boat. Yeah. So I got the boat. But the thing is, Edinburgh is on the East Coast. And then you go so we basically go from the east to the west coast of Scotland in like an afternoon to get the boat at like 3 o'clock in the morning, which we did. We got the train into the centre of town again, train from Edinburgh to Glasgow. And we just about made each mode of transport. Then we got a train from there to Girvan or something like that. Then a train to, I can't remember where it was. And then we had to wait on the bus. And there was this guy, his name was Sandy McClyman. I'm convinced he was an angel or something because he just got off the train. He was kind of helping us. Like, lads, I'll take you around to where the bus is. And he stood and waited with us. And the bus was way, way late. And we're like, there mustn't going to be a bus. We need to go into town here and get a taxi. And he's like, no, wait, lads, just wait another wee 5 minutes. And right on the 5-minute mark, the bus comes. And I'm convinced he might have been like a guardian angel or something like that there. But we got
that kind of name, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we did get the boat and we got back home, and it was just awful. Like it was just
well, that's definitely like a story to tell.
Yeah, like, you missed it. So anytime I'm getting a plane, I'm a bit of a nervous traveller since that there. I'm just like, right, flipping. Like we were just on holiday there, and I'm like, right, get to the airport like 3-4 hours early, you know.
George, that just reminded me, right? He was talking about going to the wrong door. Do you want to tell people what happened to you whenever you went to the wrong door? Right, so if you don't know, right, so my brother just recently just moved back to my parents' house. He used to live in those apartments. Remember I told you he used to live in Braniel, right?
Braniel.
Okay.
Braniel.
So in Braniel, there's definitely, you know, those tower blocks.
Yeah.
Ones, right? No. Let me tell a story so then you can tell afterwards, right? So we tell George what apartment it is, right? So and then he gets to Braniel and he sees, you know, the free building blocks. He's like, which one is it? I was like, it's the tallest one, you know, the one at the near the top of the hill.
And it's the,
you
gave me the number.
yeah, and it even has like a yellow strip or something on it. And he's like, right. he goes to the complete wrong building, right? Goes to the door.
Tower block.
Wrong tower block. He goes to the door number that Jack's supposed to live in, right? Knocks on the door.
The guy who's topless answers. And he said, "Are you?" He said something like, "Oh, are you the person I'm expecting?" So
But he's like, he's like topless as well. So
he looks so confused. He was expecting someone, but I said, "No, I'm here to meet Jack, my friend Jack." And I was waffling on about the carpet.
Yeah, because
the Batman carpet.
Jack's doormat is like the Batman one, or it was like
So we stood there both awkwardly looking at each other. I was so confused. I was like, my friend Jack, and all he was just like, no. And I just walked away awkwardly. It was like,
this is why you should never go out with George, right? Because he's so bad at directions.
Yeah. I end up in the wrong city.
Scared sick. Right, so we should probably end this podcast here. Any final sort of conversation before we end it?
You need to give us a review as host, 1 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
1 out of 10.
The 1 to 10.
1 to 10. I think I don't know. I've never done this sort of thing before.
It's a 10. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, 11 out of 10. No podcast is perfect. There you go.
So guys,
stick that on the poster or whatever, the thumbnail or whatever.
So guys, thanks very much for tuning in. Thanks very much for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube or on TikTok, thanks for listening on Spotify. And if you are interested in joining our next podcast, you know, like me and Joe always say, you can talk about anything. We literally talked about anything on this one. We did on the previous one. So if you want to come on, talk about literally anything, send me and George a message on any of our social media accounts, and we'll bring you on board. So thanks very much for tuning in, and we will talk to you next time.
Sayonara.
Up a hoods.
Hosted by Thomas McCullen and George Gibson.